Hey everyone, welcome to Withering Effect episode 88. Today's date is March 28, 2021, and I am Duds, or Duds versus known to the rest of the interwebs.
And I'm Jimbo. You may know me as Jimbo Slice 23, and today we have a guest. You may know him from the Bedrock Guide series, Prowl. Welcome to the show.
Hello, it's my second welcome so far today. Appreciate it, guys.
No problem.
One more coming.
You got one more coming.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for inviting me on the show. I appreciate it. I'm really honored to get to come on here and hopefully not mess things up too much.
Trust me, you cannot mess it up more than me and Jimbo do on a weekly basis.
Not a chance.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Game on.
Glad to have you.
Yeah. So we normally start out with what we've been working on the previous week. Is there anything, Prowl, you could give us that doesn't necessarily spoil your videos or you would like to talk about that you've worked on?
Well, first of all, I'm not one for, I've never really cared too much about spoilers anyways.
Yeah.
I did just have a video come out today on a Blaze farm I play on Bedrock Edition, and it is an interesting design.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep my guide series and my videos focused on like practical survival things that are easy for the average player to do, but are also efficient for the technical player that likes things to be very efficient.
Yeah.
I designed a Blaze farm that doesn't use any redstone except for the trident killer at the bottom, which is absolutely awesome.
We were talking about that in the pre-show. Man, we wish trident killers were in Java. That's so cool.
Oh, man. It's probably the coolest thing.
Yeah, trident killer is really cool. For you Java players that don't know about them, look up a trident killer just for no other purpose of seeing what it is. Basically, if you have any kind of mob grinder at all, whether it be a mob farm or guardian farm, pigman farm, whatever the case may be, instead of having an entity cram kill him, like I know a lot of you guys typically do, instead you can drop them into a trident killer. You can hold out your looting sword. You get the looting effect on everything that's killed. You don't have to swing your sword once. You can sit there and AFK all night long, and the tridents don't take any durability loss. It is amazing.
Man.
Yeah, we heard about it like a week ago, and I'm like, what is that? I was so jealous to see something like that.
When I saw you making it, I saw your two tridents like had no durability left. I go, oh no, those are gonna break, and you're like, yeah, no durability. Gunk.
Yeah,
and just threw it in there. I was just like, oh, what? That's even cooler.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Hopefully, you guys over in Java Edition get them soon. I would like to see the Java players get to use such an amazing thing too.
Yeah,
or we might have to just convert just for the trident killer.
Yeah, it might be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at your Blaze farm, and the way you guys do it is definitely different than us. One, when you were lighting it up, you only needed, 6 glowstone, whereas we need like half a stack because we have to expand it all out in every direction and stuff. I was like, oh, that's so much nicer.
Yeah. Our spawning range is actually a lot smaller for the spawners. I don't know if you caught that or not,
Yeah.
but on Bedrock Edition, it goes out in 4 in each direction on the X and Z axis, but it makes a diamond shape instead of a square.
Mm-hmm.
And then mobs only spawn 1 block above and 1 block below the spawner. And I think if I'm correct here, Java spawns 4 above and 4 below.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep, lot smaller space to have to cover.
Me and Carl built one early in the Ripple Effect season, and ours is also redstone less, but we use lava to kind of push them into a 2x2 hole.
Ah.
I don't know if lava works the same way with you guys or not.
It does not. Lava does not move the nether mobs in Bedrock Edition. It doesn't have a flow to it in that way. Man, the interesting little parity changes or parity differences that there are that don't really make a lot of sense why they're like that, but there they are. They're there.
Like when you were doing the coral fan trick, I was just like, wait, what? Because the only thing we have that's like that is obviously trapdoors.
Yeah, well, we used to have buttons, which was super easy, right?
Yeah.
Like you can make buttons out of a billion different materials. And then like 6 months ago, they changed that. They said, yeah, buttons aren't going to be viewed as a full block by mobs anymore. So then somebody else discovered that coral fans now hold that spot. So a little bit harder to get them, but same effect. And obviously a lot better than trapdoors because mobs can kind of get caught on the edge of trapdoors and don't like to fall down and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot better of a block to use.
Anytime we're trying to use trapdoors to lure a mob, I mean, you got to put an item on the other side of the trapdoor that they really want. Like zombies and piglins, you put an egg. For a villager, you put a workstation or a bed or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and they'll jump right off there, won't they?
Oh, yeah. They go skydiving. They don't care.
Yep.
Jimbo, how about you? How's your week been?
Not too bad. Finally finished my Wolf Farm episode.
Finally.
I've been talking about this for like a month now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finally got to it. got it finished up.
Mm-hmm.
That came out Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday. Also, I got a brand new car.
Nice.
A 2019 Nissan Altima. Almost forgot what I
Wow.
got. Yeah. Well, it's kind of for the wife. We traded hers in, was able to get that. Buddy of mine works at the dealership, so it's kind of hard to trust them car dealers. So I was able to find a friend in the business, and it's a pretty sweet car. It's a 4-cylinder, good on gas, and it looks great. So I'm happy about that. So it's been a good week. It's been a really good week for me.
Bet your wife's happy. Isn't it her birthday tomorrow?
It's her birthday tomorrow. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Ooh, cool.
But she's got a car, so I got a free pass.
Happy birthday to her. I just had mine last week.
Nice.
Happy birthday.
Birthdays all around.
Yeah, man. The gray hairs are creeping in now.
So I've had gray hair in my beard since I was like 20,
I'm waiting on them.
but I found gray hair on top of my head this week. I'm just like, oh, great. I'm already dealing with the male bald spot in the back. Now I got gray hair on the side.
I'm just trying to keep as much hair as possible. It's starting to recede a little bit.
Uh-oh. I don't have that problem.
And I'm going to shave it all off.
That's what I've just been shaving it. Easy fix.
Mm-hmm. So, Jimbo, any idea on what your next project's going to be?
Yes. Plan on finishing up that sheep farm room and hooking it up. I haven't got the collection area done yet. I was actually working on that today, so I actually have half the next episode done.
Nice.
Yeah, that should be out within a week.
So what you're saying is I have some bottles to steal from you.
No, I'm on the whole other side of the base.
Ah, come on.
My base is 300 blocks wide.
Ooh.
And the bottles are on the other side. I'm working on the complete opposite end.
I've got a honeybee farm that just eats through bottles like crazy. It's funny because the shearing part of the farm, not a single shear has broke yet.
Wow.
And this farm's been up for months now, but I am going through bottles like crazy.
Yeah, it probably helps. I guess you guys are probably the same way. Does it the dispensers like randomly pick one of the shears inside to use? And I'm assuming did you enchant them all or no?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope, they're just normal shears and they've lasted that long.
Yeah, unbreaking would be a good idea. I didn't really think of that.
Yep.
I think I have one shear in each of them. I better get to that.
Yeah, you might want to change that up. See, we've got iron farms or whatever, so going through shears, to me, as long as I had easy access, wasn't that big of a deal. So I was like, yeah, whenever they break, I'll just throw some more in there. And not one of those have broke, but man, the bottles, I'll go through like a stack of bottles in my base for an hour, and I'm just like,
yeah,
where does it go?
That's another one of those differences I think is different with you guys, because honey's a pretty good food source for you, right?
Mm-mm.
And it's not? Okay.
It is a food source, but it's not very good.
Okay.
I think honey will fix like a poison effect or a bad omen. Like I think it's like milk in that effect.
Yeah, it does.
Now I mainly use it for honey blocks because my new thing now is instead of item sorters, I just straight up throw the honey block on the hopper and do the ice path next to it.
Okay.
That's so much nicer.
Yeah, I don't mess with the bees. I don't like bees.
You keep saying that. I know you have a hidden farm out back.
No, I don't. What? No, I don't. What have you done this week, Duds? Let's move on.
This week, I worked on another tunnel. I actually started that in the stream yesterday, and I went ahead and was bored, so I went ahead and finished what I had started. So about a third of the tunnel is done, which is nice considering I'm getting really tired of walking on Netherrack. And I've got Enderman constantly just teleporting on top of it, so I have to like do the whole walk with your head down thing. You can't fly through the tunnel because you just aggro an Enderman, and then it's instant death for me because I don't wear good armor. Also built a pumpkin farm. I was sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and build this pumpkin farm, start an episode. That's an easy 7 minutes to start the episode. I'm going to do a time lapse. And 13 minutes I was done, and the time lapse is a minute and a half. I was like, okay, that was a lot easier than it should have been.
It usually goes one way or the other, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Either the project lasts like 10 times longer than you thought it was going to, or it's done in like a couple minutes. You're like, oh,
Right.
okay, so what else can I do?
Well, and it's funny you say that. So last week I rebuilt a Tango Tech design called Lucky Levers. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I don't think so.
He built it 7 years ago on like the Moonlight server. And so I'm like, I'm going to redesign it and build it my way and everything. So I spent like a month in my creative world off and on messing with the redstone. I was like, I've got this all down pat. And I build it and I have someone come over and play test it, and it just broke and broke and broke. I'm like, I said this episode was going to be out. It's not going to be.
Yeah, it's rough when you put yourself against some kind of a timeline too, isn't it? And then you're just not ready in time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I switched away from that not long ago because I used to have like a schedule where like, I don't know what days it was, Tuesday and Saturday or something, I would like put out an episode. And it's just too stressful. So now like I just put out an episode whenever it's ready.
Yeah. The final thing I worked on was the short. Jimbo remembers recording that.
Yeah.
I've got a thing about YouTube Shorts. I've not really liked YouTube Shorts and how they've implemented the poll and short system. Not all YouTubers, but I found a lot of the YouTubers I'm following just do random polls that don't really make sense. Like I saw one that asked if the sky was blue or not, just to kind of get the clicks.
Yep.
And get their stuff in there. I'm like, oh man, don't take advantage. If you're going to do something like that, make it worthy of somebody clicking on your video. And I ended up going, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. Me and Jimbo have been talking about doing scripted segments for a long time. And so I did a scripted short called Casual Fridays. And it's something I want to bring back multiple times. It won't be every Friday, but it'll be as often as we can. And it'll go out on Friday. And it's basically me, Jimbo, and Carl as if the Withering effect was an office type situation and having fun. And to me, I'm like, this is how a short should be. It's different content than what you're used to instead of selfie, as I like to call it.
It is different.
Yeah. I have a really strong opinion about these YouTube shorts because kind of like you said, I've seen people do these and they be like non-relevant to pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen people like creators that I know they'll pull in a ton of views and like double their channel size with these shorts, right?
Yeah.
And if you know anything about how YouTube works, one of the things that I'm sure, I know you guys said earlier in the pre-show that you weren't too heavy into video analytics, but one of the more simple ones that people look at and understand is CTR, your click rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just simply if your thumbnail shows up on somebody's screen, what percentage of the time does somebody click it versus not click it? That's a simple way of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you make this short that has nothing to do with anything, any of your content whatsoever, or your channel in general, and it's just some random thing that you did to get a bunch of clicks and views. Well, it's going to backfire on you because you're going to get a lot of subscribers from that YouTube short being shown to hundreds of thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are then going to subscribe to your channel. And then the next time you make a regular video of your normal content, they're not going to watch it because they didn't subscribe to you for that.
Right.
And then that video's CTR click rate is going to be down, and then YouTube's going to recommend it less, and you're just going to tank your channel. So anybody that's thinking about doing YouTube shorts, for sure, like they could be a tool. Just make sure that they're somewhat relevant to your channel, and people that click on those will likely also click on your other stuff so you don't end up paying for it later.
Good call.
And I'm all for like Easter eggs. So I'm hiding Easter eggs in plain sight, and at least this first short, like anyone who has followed Ripple Effect for the past 2 years understand we've got a player on the server named Aubni who's totally against wearing pants, like won't wear pants, armor, or anything like that. So I went ahead and did the first episode. How the show got its name is that quote unquote corporate was going to give us Casual Fridays back, even though we had an incident where none of us would wear pants. So that was kind of a little nod to the head. Hey, Aubni, we know you've been supporting us for a long time. Here you go. Here's a episode dedicated to you.
We'll join you pantsless.
I guess at least there's no useful enchantments that are only for pants,
right.
So you can kind of get away with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, he finds them useless.
That's kind of my week. Should we go ahead and move on to the news? Because the news is light this week.
Yeah, not too much.
The only news was Bedrock got an update. I don't know how they really call it. Is it a snapshot?
It's a beta.
Beta, that's it. So Bedrock has caught up on the fact that the world height has increased. But the one thing you guys still have over Java is you got goats.
Yes.
If we're going to have anything, it needs to be goats. Let us hold on to that for just a little bit longer. We don't need all the other cool stuff like Deep Slate and all the other cool things that come with the update, the cave generation. As long as we have goats, we're fine.
Yeah, you got the goats. No big deal.
That's the one thing I've been really jealous about that Bedrock's been getting in these betas is that they got to play with the goats first. And I'm one of those that I don't like jumping into the snapshots and seeing them until the actual finished product's out there. But I'd probably jump in and play with the goat a little bit to see what it's like.
Yeah. I kind of have to jump in because since I'm running a guide series and we're going to like reset our world when the new update comes out, like I feel like I kind of have to know everything about everything,
Right.
just so I look like I know what I'm doing. Right. Hopefully, when the series relaunches.
Nah, who needs to look like they know it?
That's what I do.
But also, so the beta that just came out, they came out with the Cliffs one, which did raise the world hype, but then they came out with another one this last week that also lowered the world generation as well. So now it goes down. There's no like new like generation, new blocks or anything down there, but they have like the full range generation top to bottom now.
Nice.
There's one thing I was also jealous about the Bedrock is how smooth the rendering is.
Yeah.
I was really nervous about Java's rendering with all this world it's got to render in now. And I feel like Bedrock is not going to have as big of an issue as Java is with that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I don't play Java really. Like I have Java on my computer and I'll load up a snapshot just to check things out every once in a while, but I don't primarily play it. And if you only play Bedrock, like you're going to find it's kind of funny. Like we also complain about rendering quite often, although it's definitely a lot better when you can compare to the way Java works. You know, a key example a lot of people don't know unless you've played Bedrock before is with you guys, you kind of have one setting that's rendering and everything that's loaded is loaded. So if you can see it, if you can render it in, that particular thing is running, loaded, calculations are happening, whatever. And Bedrock actually does it different. You have a simulation distance and a render distance. So your simulation distance is everything within this amount of chunks is loaded and running. And then beyond that, you have render distance. And that actually allows the game to render a lot further. Like you'll see people with even like a mediocre computer or kind of poor computer like mine, like I can render out 54 chunks. And some people with really good computers can render out over 100 chunks away. Wow. So it really makes the world feel a lot larger and a lot smaller at the same time if you play with multiple people. Because imagine you render out 100 something chunks away, you can literally see everybody's base that you play with from one location.
Yeah, Java has something like that. It's not exactly like that. They've just recently brought it in. I think it was 116 or it might have been 115, where you can choose an entity render distance over just a normal render distance. And I want to say I heard recently from Exuma Void that so like Optifine, there's another rendering improvement software called Sodium. And they were playing with the fact that you could have stuff quote unquote not render in if you're not looking at it. So it would still be doing the math and stuff, but it would kind of put it on the back burner and save the visuals, so give you more horsepower and stuff.
Okay.
Obviously it comes with some hitches, but you guys don't have anything like Optifine or Sodium for Bedrock, do you?
No, because like anything that's like truly like third party like that changes the game code at all, that you can't. Bedrock doesn't allow that kind of stuff. Like they don't allow access to the game code like that. So what they've done more of is give like actual creator tools or permissive access to a lot of different things that can be done in the game that they do allow. So it does limit things a lot, but at the same time, there's still a lot that can be done.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the misconception out there is Bedrock can't be like modded. And I think like in a true definition case, that's true because you can't actually mod the game code. But a lot of the things that, you know, maybe your more popular mods do either aren't needed. Like we don't need to Optifine just to like have a playable version of the game. Like it runs fine on its own. But there's a lot of like add-ons that do a lot of things that mods do to Java Edition. So for all intents and purposes, to the player, you can have a modded experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, people say, well, Bedrock can't be. I always felt that it could be. It's just called something different.
Yeah, we call it add-ons. You have behavior packs and resource packs that change the game. They just don't change the game code. It's just these are things that have been like the devs have opened up to allow us to change through means that they've created instead of it being means that the player or the modder has created in the case of Java.
Yeah, I think the most popular mod I use, especially as a content creator, is the replay mod. Comes in handy.
Oh, gosh. Don't get me started. Man, I would love to have that. I've played with it some, like loading Java, and like sometimes every once in a while, like I'll take like a world and convert it from Bedrock to Java just to get some replay mod footage of it. But if there's one thing that Java has, it's so nice. It's the like general creator tools that are out there that we just Bedrock can't do. And again, my understanding is like it would be possible for somebody to create it on Bedrock, but it would require modifying game code, and that would be against their terms of service for the Bedrock edition of the game. So you can't do it unless you want to get in some kind of big trouble.
Dang.
That's a shame.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
One day.
Maybe.
So we were just talking about the 1.17 beta for Bedrock. Out of all the stuff you've seen so far, whether it be Java or Bedrock, what is the one thing you're looking forward to the most? I'm
gonna throw just a couple of things instead of one thing.
Okay,
sure. I can't wait for the Warden.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good mob fight, and I kind of hope we see a little bit more. Like, can he have like another cool mob that's like down there with him, as opposed to just the normal mobs?
Yeah.
Or is it just going to be the Warden and that's it? Like, I would love something else to go with him, but I think that's going to be fun. And then just my second thing I would add in is just the cave generation and as a general like topic is so awesome. It literally is changing the entire like early to mid and in a way even the late game of Minecraft.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be the same. It's not like the Nether update where I'm sure 75% of players never even go to the Nether anyways. As cool as it is, like most people are just definitely afraid of it and don't go there. This is going to affect everybody, and it's literally going to change everything with how you play the game, even if you don't even venture into caves that much, like lighting up stuff for mob farms and, you know, whatever the case may be. It's nuts. It's really crazy to think about.
Don't get us started on lighting up. That's been one of my things. It's like, yes, the new cave generation looks gorgeous, but it's going to take me forever to light those suckers up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to try to find a place that maybe doesn't have as many, but I mean, that might be kind of hard too, because you look at these, like, what are they called? Spaghetti caves. You're going to have like all sorts of crazy tunnels going everywhere. It's not going to be easy to find all that.
Some of those are massive too.
Yeah.
You fly through them.
Oh, yeah.
Looks great.
Well, I want to say they're still tweaking the size. Like the original, like, hey, this is a spaghetti cave and this is a break. And I think all of those were oversized on purpose to emphasize what they were doing. And I think now they're tweaking it and making things smaller to be more manageable in game.
You know, one thing I'm looking to see, because it didn't exist in the Bedrock beta, because we got the Cliffs beta in the beta, right? And we got to play that. There's 0 caves generating in the Cliffs. So I'm kind of curious, I would assume they're going to have caves in them. Are they just going to be the same type of cave generation you see everywhere else, or is it going to be some type of generation that's unique to the Cliffs?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It'd be interesting to see how that's going to work, because I kind of picture, like, you know, this little cave that comes in the side that, I don't know, you see like movies, like a bear's like sleeping in there or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just little like caves here and there poking in, and it'd be a neat way to find, like, you know, some of the ores that are up in the higher mountain region, to find them inside of the caves and that kind of thing.
No, definitely.
Yeah, some of those ores are specific for the mountains now.
Yeah, I think I can't remember, it's one of the previous shows you guys were talking about the ore generation. And while I really like the ore generation a lot, the way they're doing it, where it's spread out, you kind of got to be a little bit more strategic about it. There's areas that are a lot more dense, less dense, etc. One thing that you don't think about, but they show, like, if you can remember that little chart, picture it in your head, where it shows like way up high, like emeralds and coal, like really generate a ton up high, right? But if you think about it, way up high, there's almost no blocks up there. You're talking about mountain peaks. So whereas you would think, oh man, I can go up there, I can find emeralds for days, actually doesn't work out that way. I did a video where I like cleared out all of the blocks except for the emerald and coal blocks. And you don't see as many up there as you would probably like to, because there's by the time you get to any substantial like piece of mountain, like a wide piece of mountain, you're starting to get further down into the generation, and you're just not finding it as densely there. So I don't know, maybe hopefully they can tweak something like that here to make finding those things a little bit even more frequent up at the tops of the peaks.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Like you said, you just think, well, I just go up higher. Well, now you go up higher, there's less high.
Yeah, you ran out of blocks.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, they're supposed to be around here somewhere.
But it is cool. Like if you check it out, like you see, especially like on the actual mountainside, like you see emerald ore like all over the place. So it might actually be, whereas your traditional like caving or branch mining down into caves is the way you go there. Like honestly, it might just be best to bring a shovel and just knock out all the snow and then just grab everything that's on the surface of the mountain.
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking is going to be the best strategy if you're like early game and want to get a lot of coal or Like, I know people say emeralds are, what do I need emerald in the mountains for? Because I got villager trading that I can do, which is true.
Right.
But like when you're in your first several days of a world, you don't really have that like infrastructure set up yet. So you could just go up into the tops of the mountains with a shovel and knock out a bunch of snow out your way. And you could probably get a whole bunch of emeralds really quick just to kind of get that early game mending book or, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about what you're looking forward to the most. What's something that you just kind of meh on this coming update?
Man, that's going to be a hard one to think of. I guess. Okay, so here's one, and I have a theory as to why they're not doing this, but they've kind of said they're not going to be touching the dungeons, the mob spawners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, really big one, right? Because mob spawners are really plain. They don't really serve, especially with like all the ways we have to like get items and XP and stuff now. They almost don't serve a big purpose anymore.
Right.
Like it's not a cool, fun thing to do like it used to be. So like let's spice them up a little bit. Like it'd be really cool if they were like small generated structures, and like they could even intentionally like have it to where I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, it's very random, and then you just can get lucky and have like 2 or 3 close to each other, right? It'd be cooler if they built in more of a chance for these dungeons to be connected to each other, where you have 2, 3, 4 spawners that are all close to each other, and that would maybe happen a little bit more frequently.
Yeah.
And it would maybe bring a little bit of excitement back to them and a purpose for people to seek them out and just make it cool again,
For sure.
But I have a theory.
Okay.
If they keep doing everything in one update, they're not going to have stuff to do in future updates, right?
True.
Maybe next year or the year after, maybe there's a structure update where they take all these different structures and they update all of them. You get a new mansion, you get a new stronghold, you get a new dungeon, and all these different things. So I think maybe that's something that they kind of can't do at all, because then they won't have anything to do in the future,
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting. That's something we never really brought up, or the dungeons. They never really touched. I think we might have brought it up once.
We brought it up once when we found out that they weren't touching it, and I went, well, that stinks. And we moved on.
That was about it. Yeah, there's other stuff to complain about, like bundles.
Oh, God.
Oh, gosh. See, I was going to bring that up. I wanted to call you out on that a little bit, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Okay. So I didn't get to hear your full. So what is your main argument against bundles? Why do you dislike them so much?
So I feel bundles are, one, intentionally meant for early game. So, which is fine, except it takes rabbit hide, which isn't necessarily always an easy thing to get early game.
Okay.
And by early game, remember, I'm playing differently than a lot of people. So usually by the end of the first week, we have shulker boxes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, if they can be made out of leather, that would be a huge improvement instead of making it rabbit hide. Because sometimes I'll go a week or two without being able to find carrots. Then again, I'm usually not necessarily searching out carrots. I'm like, oh, cow, done. Bring the cow in. I've now got a cow farm.
Okay, so let me throw this at you.
Okay.
So first of all, you're going to have a new place to find rabbits, and that's going to be in the mountains, because at I can't remember what the sub biome they're using is called, but one of the biomes in there's going to be rabbits spawning. So now you can find it in a mountain or in the desert. But I don't think bundles are early game. So you guys, you consider yourself you're a builder, right? You like to build.
Yeah.
You like to detail. You like to use a bajillion different blocks, correct? So what do you do as you go through and you're building, and okay, well, now I have 3 of this stair left. Now I have 2 of that slab left. And now I have you end up with all these odds and ends pieces that you keep having to make chests to store in a chest, or throwing into shulker boxes. And, oh, well, now I need more shulker boxes because I got 3 more of this and 5 more of that. So what if you just keep a couple bundles on you while you're building, and then your inventory is not filling up constantly because, okay, well, I'm done with this one. I have this one wall left over I'm not using. I have these 2 trapdoors left over I'm not using. Let me throw them into my bundle. Now my inventory space is freed up again. I can bring in some more blocks to pull in to use for my build without having to fill up 50,000 chests in the process.
That's a good point.
All right.
So I see a lot of utility there for builders, but early game too, for sure. Like, caving and exploring and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
I can see it being very useful for somebody that builds and just doesn't want to deal with all those odds and end blocks that we all get when we're working on a build. We have to empty our inventory over and over and over again.
You're correct, but in the way I see it, my counterpoint would be, so it is cleaning up your inventory, and it honestly would be great for, I've finished a project, I now need to clean up my area. It's just like, if you're in the middle of building, and now you've got to get something out of that bundle. You basically got to blit your bundle out to find the one item you need.
Yeah, it does spew out all the items.
If they were to make getting in and out of the bundle an easier, like, GUI, then 100% on it. But that whole just blit,
That's how we explain it.
all the bundle out is just like, oh no, come on, man.
Yeah, they should have it because I think I haven't got to play with them yet because they don't have them on Bedrock. But in Java, when you hover over the bundle, it at least does now show you all the blocks in there, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I guess they should. It would be nice if they had it to where you could go like hover over the block and like hit Q or hit a button. It just drops it. It drops that block out. Yeah. I think that would be the last piece of utility they could add into bundles. And I think they would fit their role in the game pretty well at that point.
Exactly. If they did that, I would backtrack a lot of my hate for bundles because then they do kind of serve a purpose. Even though I wouldn't find them as useful as a shulker box, they would still have a use better than a shulker box because I can't get inside a shulker box till I place it down. So having a window screen that I can hop in and get stuff in and out, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, you could just keep a bundle shulker box too, like all those odds and ends, because it can, like, I can fill a shulker box up quick when I'm working on a building project with just all like the little bits and pieces. And next thing you know, a shulker box that's supposed to hold thousands of items, I probably only have like 100 total items in there because they're tiny stacks of like all sorts of different things. Yeah. So you could at least consolidate a little bit more with the bundles.
Yeah, my big inventory fix is what I call the hotbar inventory, where just basically every row of 9 in your inventory is just a straight up hotbar, and you should be able to like shift H or something and rotate hotbars all the way through. So you can have a hotbar with just tools and stuff, and another hotbar says, okay, here's these textures I want to use. To me, that's the easy fix.
Yeah.
And so like seeing, hey, we're going to fix your inventory with bundles. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, because, you have your, gotta have my sword if I'm going to defend myself. And okay, I need these 3 different tools as I switch around between things. And let me have my food and let me have my rockets. And next thing you know, you have like 2 slots left for building blocks. Right. And you're like in and out of your inventory all the time swapping stuff. Your solution there is probably the perfect one. It would make things a lot easier.
Yeah. And I'm sure my solution could use tweaks and fixes, and somebody can do it better than me. That's why they have their jobs and they're professionals and I'm not. But yeah, when I heard that they were going to help fix inventory and their solution was bundles, disappointment would be the nice way to point it.
Yeah, I think Pixel Riff said it best. Like, don't consider it as a fix to all the inventory problems. Consider it as like one piece of the puzzle to fix a particular issue, but they still have to they have to do something to fix the rest of the issues for sure.
Yeah,
it's cool they actually attempted it.
Yeah,
they took in what everyone was the Minecraft community's gripes about the inventory and actually put some thought into it. So the fact that they're listening is it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, especially when they're adding in so many new blocks. I never would have thought that so many blocks would get added into this update at all. Good grief.
I absolutely love. I remember when they were doing hey, we can't add blocks because our inventory management's like not necessarily in game, but you get what I'm saying. The code inventory management was not up to par. They're like, oh, we got to fix that before we can start adding new blocks. And now that they fixed that, we're just getting block after block after block in the new updates. And I'm just like, yes.
Can't complain about that.
Except for
except for your inventory.
Except for my inventory and concrete stairs and slabs. I'm gonna keep bringing that up.
Yeah.
They probably hate it as much as I say concrete stairs and slabs. Just saying.
At some point it's going to be an update that they're going to do, and it'll be like the stairs and slabs like update.
It's got to be.
And then like everybody's mind is just going to explode. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get it.
Yeah, but see, and I'm not even that guy who's like, I need a dirt slab and a dirt stair. It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. But a concrete slab and stair, those are things in real life. It makes sense to put them in the game.
Yeah, my stairs out front are concrete. So.
I want this in Minecraft.
Right. I don't care about the dirt slab. I don't care about the gravel slab or stair or anything like that.
Oh, you guys are going to offend people with that. Watch out now.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know.
The terraformers, they're getting angry.
I think it would be more acceptable if we had better ways to mob-proof things. Because let's face it, that's a lot of why I use stairs and slabs is just to mob-proof. And I would love to use more full blocks if I could mob-proof in better ways. And I'm sure they're toying with ideas and stuff on how to do that.
I know a ton of people have like keep recommending something to do with the beacon
Same.
to like mob proof, and I don't think that's a bad idea, but it definitely should be like a harder thing to get, like to be able to do. I don't know if that's like, hey, you have to make your beacon out of netherite blocks, or if it's something else, because that would be kind of hard to do. But
Yeah.
I think definitely something is needed to help with mob proofing, because it probably doesn't help game performance either. Like we're sitting here putting like 1,000 pressure plates like all over the
Right.
ground just to keep mobs from spawning, you know?
Yeah, and those are constantly going, was I stepped on? Was I stepped on? That can't be good for the code.
No, definitely not.
But out of the things you've seen now, is there anything you would like to see in the upcoming update? I know they haven't really shown us near probably all that they're going to show us, but like I've been really looking for, I want to see some kind of ice cave. I think that would be great.
Yes, I was going to say that actually.
Yeah, there we go.
It makes sense to do. Like
Right?
when we have a glacier biome, let's have ice caves, because we already think of like ice spikes and things like that. Like that's a thing in real life. Like it would just look so cool if you have like these varying degrees of like ice in there and you have ice spikes coming down, and it would just be,
Yeah.
it would be a more sensible experience. And then that was one thing. And then the other thing I would like to see, and you guys, I would think that you guys will probably like this, is, but well, I don't know, because it's not something that's really possible in Java quite yet, but let's get some colored lighting, please.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'd like it.
My idea for that was the glow squids, have them drop. They drop glow ink sacks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you combine a glow ink sack with a dye, and it gives you glow ink. So glow cyan, glow, whatever, right?
Right.
And then you combine that in a crafting recipe with either an end rod or a sea lantern, because those are both white lights.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that, okay, well, I can mix in a glow red dye and make it a red light,
Mm-hmm.
or, do it for all 16 colors. It'd be such a great thing for them to do. And it would be an easy like way for them to integrate it in if they can figure out colored lighting.
Yeah.
On Java Edition.
That being said, I think they're getting close. The fact that we're now getting shaders as like a stock vanilla thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're definitely, that's something they want to add, because you see all these people using the RTX on Bedrock, and it's gorgeous. Like if there was something to draw me away from Java to play on Bedrock, it would be wanting to play on the RTX worlds.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And a trident killer.
and to try
Trident killer.
But well, like you're saying, an easy fix, maybe not even so much having the glow effect colored, but just allowing me to dye an Enrod or dye a sea lantern a different color. So even though it's not maybe producing a blue hue or anything like that, it gives me the ability to
make the light look like that color.
Yeah.
The block that color. Yeah, that would make sense. Hopefully I don't think they're going to do it at this point in this update, but hopefully something similar to that happens in the near future for sure.
Like I said, all the devs that we've had on the show, they say they listen and watch everything. So we get that they've already got this update kind of figured out what they want to do and stuff. And it's just, we're just shooting ideas out there that who knows, maybe 2 years down the line, they're like, hey, you know what? That actually can work now.
Yeah, for sure. Or I mean, you never know, like they could get inspired by something from somebody somewhere and decide to like, okay, we're going to get this in the game right now. So
yeah,
you never know what can happen.
Out of nowhere, we're in the credits.
Doubtful.
Yeah, probably not. But I'll fight the dragon and watch the credits and see if I appear in there.
What? Yeah, what's our names?
More than likely, it'll be an email saying, okay, you guys could stop complaining now. Anyways, so let's go ahead and move on. We want to throw in there, Carl's got a special Discord ad for you guys to remember. Discord's the only place where you can really talk to me, Carl, Jimbo, and everyone. Even our guests are on Discord and stuff. So you can hit us up there. But it's also the place where you can get involved in our new project. And here's Carl to explain.
Hi everyone. We have a new project that you can get involved in. Our brand new website at thewitheringeffect.com allows us to post transcripts with each of our episodes. This helps people who are hard of hearing access our content easier and helps improve our search engine position, bringing more listeners to the show. This is where you come in. We are looking to put together a team of people to help us write transcripts for each episode. If you would like to get involved and for more information, head over to the Discord using the link in the show notes and ask to be put on the transcriptions team. Thanks for your support.
All right, thanks for that, Carl. Like I said, the Discord's the only place you can get involved in a lot of our stuff, but it's also the only place you can do the Mending Minecraft vote. This week, we asked you guys to choose between one of 3 items for us to discuss and improve. The choices were name tag, clock, and crossbow.
And the winner of Mending Minecraft this week is... Crock. Kind of didn't see that coming.
Didn't see it coming.
Big ol' oof.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been crossbow, that's easy to fix and improve and everything.
Right. But we got 35 votes for the clock, 12 for the name tag, and 19 for the crossbow. So people really want to see us improve this clock.
Sorry, but you guys are going to be let down this week.
Sorry, guys. Clocks are time-telling devices that display the current in-game position of the sun and the moon. Clocks only function properly in the overworld. In the nether and the end, they kind of just go all wacky.
Yeah.
They're crafted with 4 gold ingots and 1 redstone dust. Clocks can be traded for with expert-level librarians. And piglins are attracted to clocks and run towards any clock on the ground, pretty much just like gold, and inspect it for 6 to 8 seconds before putting it in their inventory. And that is all I got for clocks.
Yeah. Clocks are definitely, I say niche, as in the fact I never crafted a clock till this season. But because I've built a lot of my base indoors, there's not a lot of outdoors, I never know if it's day or nighttime. I have like 6 clocks in my base this season.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very weird. Because my base is kind of stretched out a bit. So I'm just like, can I go outside yet? Oh, it's dark. I better sleep. But there are only 2 real things about the clocks that I went, wait, what? Number 1, they don't work with a comparator.
Didn't think about that.
Right.
Interesting.
And to me, that's the easiest fix. So I don't know if it's like this in Bedrock, but daylight sensors in Java are wonky.
Really?
Yeah, a daylight strength signal is like 15, and then a nighttime strength signal is like 11. Probably a little bit more, maybe 12. But it's very different. So last season, I tried to build a functional clock, just a big clock tower that would circle, and I really only needed it to light up 4 lights. I was like, well, I'll just do it in quarters, and that'll be fine. And because the nighttime and daytime are so different, it didn't really work out very well. You basically have to build 2 separate circuits for that. And then I was just like, well, shouldn't a clock kind of work like an item frame does? Where you can see the animation put out a different redstone signal, and they don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, they kind of should. It would fix daylight sensors at the same time, because then I wouldn't have to use them.
Yeah, kind of as if you'd rotate an arrow.
Right.
Inside the item frame, you get a different signal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
And finally, the only other issue I have is the texture's a bit weird to get used to. Once you figure it out, it's fine. Such as you're waiting till nighttime to sleep, right? So you would assume the second you see any kind of night on that clock, you can go ahead and hit your bed and go to sleep. But no, you got to wait for the nighttime to get to what's considered the 12 position before you can sleep. So the texture is a little weird in that bit. It's confusing to get used to. Once you get used to it, it's okay. There's not a lot of improvements for a clock, guys.
Yeah.
You actually stole mine, because I wrote that down when you brought it up earlier. You should be able to place a clock down, kind of like an item frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like take a comparator output, like through a block or something like that, and like put out a different redstone signal all the way up to, from 0 all the way up to 15 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense to do. I don't see why they wouldn't do it. And it would just give like another way for people to, utilize something cool in the game. You can have stuff happen at different times throughout your base. Like, how neat would that be? Maybe I want this farm on at this time and this farm on at that time, or, whatever like crazy things that you could think of to do with it. I'm sure people would have like all sorts of like wild ideas for like how to tie things into clocks. But it would be just it takes a block or an item in this case that has no use whatsoever for the most part, except for your long base where you can't tell what time it is outside. Yeah. it gives it a technical use, and people would be using them frequently, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, 99% of the time, people go, "What time is it?" They look up because they can see outside.
Yeah,
you're right.
Me, I'm a underground mole rat, so I just hang out there. I will say, J-Man had a good comment on it. And I won't use it exactly because he's talking about creating a whole new clock, but it'd be really cool if the animations for the clock maybe had a little notification on villager work times, because obviously they only work twice during the day. So it'd be cool if you could be like, okay, I see a little villager there. That must mean they're working.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. Something else you could tie into Redstone in some way, right? Like indicator lights or something like that. Like, oh, it's time for them to work. Like all the lights have cut on. I know they're working now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like to see it as like an actual block. You know, you can't really place down a clock. You know, it's an item.
Yeah.
Granted, you could put it in an item frame, but I mean, everyone's got their like creative, like grandfather clock designs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pretty neat. It does bring out the creativeness if it isn't a block to place, I guess.
Yeah.
Ooh, here's another idea. You bring up like a big grandfather clock. What if not only do you make it a placeable item similar to an item frame, but what if as you like place them, like say you place 4 of them in a square, they like change to like a bigger clock.
There we go.
Or you can make a 3x3 clock, or like it would have a limit obviously at some point, but that'd be kind of neat. Like then you could have that like Times Square, like big clock tower like feel, and it actually be a functional thing. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say there's not really a precedent for that, but there is when you look at maps, because maps are separate entities that when you put together in the correct configuration, create one bigger one. So, yeah, that'd be cool. All right. So let's go ahead and get on to our main topic, which is all about Prowl.
Woohoo! Ego activate.
Yeah. We've got a couple questions. I didn't write them down in order. These are all from the Discord. So like I said, if you guys aren't in our Discord, you really should be, because that's where all the fun stuff happens and behind the scenes things and jazz stuff. So there were a lot of questions, so we weren't able to get all of them. And we did have to reword a few of them to kind of fit in the show a little bit better. Hopefully this all works out and most people get their questions answered. If not, sorry, we're pressed for time already.
Should I start?
Yeah, you start.
Okay, the name Prowl 8413, where did that come from? How did that start?
Interesting. Okay, so I mentioned the gray hairs in my beard earlier. I'm 37 years old, and I've been a gamer for a long time, ever since I was I've been a gamer, but a PC gamer specifically ever since I was like a young teenager, around 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing online games on my 56K modem. Okay, not AOL. I didn't use AOL or AIM.
Okay.
But on my 56K modem at home. And I needed you got to come up with a name when you start playing games, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have to call yourself something. So everybody goes through that process of figuring what is that going to be. So at that time, like my favorite cartoon was Transformers.
Okay.
And I originally, for like the first year, I used the name Ironhide, which was my favorite Transformer at that time. And then I changed it to Prowl, which is the cop car Transformers in the original cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been using this tag for over 20 years now. So if you're an old fogey like me, you've been gaming for 20 years, you remember a Prowl, it's probably me. Okay. Yeah. And then, of course, nothing is unique nowadays, and you have to have like something after your name or before your name to be able to get a username anywhere. Mm-hmm. So 84 is just the year that I was born, and then 13 is the year that my daughter was born. We have the same birthday. We were born on March 21st of those years.
Ooh.
Another 21st. So we have this thing in my family where a good half of us were all born on the 21st day of a month. So like I'm December 21st.
Awesome. It's a cool club to be a part of, I guess.
Yeah, 21's a lucky number for us. And I'm the same way with you. I've had duds since high school.
Yeah.
So that's closing in 20 years now too.
My son's turning 6 April 21st.
See? 21st club.
The 21 club. Maybe we should like start something here.
I'm the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't come.
You just barely missed the cut.
You don't get a t-shirt, Jimbo.
Oh, man. Get a 23rd t-shirt.
Sorry, that's not a thing.
Yeah, not a thing.
Only 21.
Oh, yeah, you don't hear 23 clubs.
Who wants to join me? 23.
Nope. All right, Prowl, what inspired you to make videos?
So my inspiration to make videos came not long after Bedrock Edition came out. I was playing, trying to learn the technical game, and like anybody that ever come up playing Bedrock, especially when it first came out, you would know that when you went to look for videos on how to do things on YouTube, you would try to do this thing and it wouldn't work because it was a Java video and you just didn't have the understanding that they were different until you've like messed up numerous farms. So I would prowl, get it? I didn't even mean, I mean, yes, I did mean that pun. I would prowl the message boards, and as I was learning how to do things, I wanted to also help other people know that were on the unofficial Minecraft message boards of how to do these different things in the game, like make farms and that sort of thing, right? So I would try to help people there, and I was very active on those message boards back then. And then eventually I came up with a design, which nobody had at the time, of a mob farm for Bedrock Edition that worked in the daytime and the nighttime. I don't want to get like too into the weeds here because I can get way into the weeds, but spawning works a lot different on Bedrock Edition.
Yeah.
And mobs are split between a certain number of mobs that can spawn on the surface and a certain number of mobs that can spawn under the surface or under a solid block. At that time, it wasn't possible, or nobody knew how to get that to work, and nobody really knew spawning mechanics that well. And I got inspired by a previous guest of yours, Groova Guy, who kind of figured all those out for, I think, the first time out of anybody. And I took what he had learned and applied it and made a mob farm that you could make multiple levels of and actually get a good amount of drops. So like I was dying to share this. Like I was like, oh my, how can I show this to everybody in the world? Because nobody has this video on YouTube. It doesn't exist.
Right.
Nobody's made a mob farm for Bedrock before, but everybody keeps trying to make these Java mob farms and failing. So that's when I decided, like, you know what? Like, I'm going to make a YouTube channel and I'm going to make this video. And that's the first video that's on my channel. If you go all the way back, as a mob farm that, you know, nowadays doesn't really look that great compared to what's out there now. But yeah, that was my inspiration. I just wanted to help people play Bedrock better and learn how to do things, not get stuck on Java videos. And that's still my motivation today, is trying to get Bedrock to a better place and put more videos out there so Bedrockers find Bedrock videos and don't get stuck on Java videos that don't work for them.
Way better than me. I started out on Bedrock, and then I went looking for how to do stuff. And then I saw the Java videos, and I went, well, I'm just going to switch to Java.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to prevent. I want people to play Bedrock.
Yeah.
Well, most of our Discord members play Bedrock.
Yeah, I think it's a large, like 5-to-1 or something like that, like Bedrock to Java players. It might even be larger than that now. So even like most Java content creators, like most of their viewers are Bedrock players, not Java players. So
Yep.
I just think it's nice to, you know, let somebody watch the version of the game that they play, so things that they see will work the way that they are seeing it. And hopefully at some point, you know, one of my big goals is to try to help achieve as much parity as possible between the two versions. That way people don't have that. If you like to watch Hermitcraft, then that's cool. You can watch Hermitcraft, and that thing that you saw Mumbo do in Hermitcraft works the same way that it works for Bedrock Edition, or maybe vice versa. You know, Bedrock player that yeah. So hopefully we achieve that one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimbo, next question.
People want to know if you are a PvP player, a Redstone player, a builder. What is your favorite aspect of the game and why?
I think generally speaking, I'm a kind of jack of all trades kind of person, but like professional at none. But if I really had to choose like one, it kind of is like a separate niche from all of those. I'm a big mechanics player. I like to learn like how the mechanics of the game work and how can I bend those to be more efficient or work better. And then in doing that, you know, obviously you're going to have to mix in some redstone to get that efficiency or whatever the case may be. So I'm decent with redstone. I definitely would not call myself a professional, but you know, I can get devices working. I can compact things to an extent.
Yeah.
I can problem solve and fumble my way through. I am not a builder at all, but that's one of the things that I've challenged myself to doing. So
Yeah.
in the guide series, for example, that I'm doing now, I'm not just building farms and, well, there you go. I'm just going to leave it like that.
Right.
I'm trying to like decorate them in some way, make them look good in some way. I'm doing a little bit less of that right now because like if it's not at my main base where I'm trying to make the most progress before we do end up doing a world reset, I'm not decorating it because I don't want to take an extra like 3 days of gameplay time away from something I could be spending at my main base.
Right.
But for those that go back and look through my series, like look at my skeleton farm, look at my like the interior of my mob farm area, or just like other areas I did earlier in the season, or anything that goes at my main base. Like it's gonna, I'm trying to exercise those skills that I don't have, and hopefully I'll develop more of them.
I was gonna say, I watched your iron farm that also doubles as a villager trading hall.
Yes, that one turned out good.
Yeah, the roof shape you add to, I go, that's a very interesting shape I wouldn't have thought about.
Yeah, it was. If I don't say this, he'll like punch me in the face probably. But the idea of that shape came from a buddy of mine, Killerdrone, who I played with on Truly Bedrock for a little while, and I'm still great friends with, and we talk quite a bit. And I was like, I'm terrible at roofs. I'm really bad at them. They're the worst thing in the world. So I was like, I was struggling, and I showed him the size of my farm, and then he showed me a picture of this cool shape. So I took that and ran with it and kind of fit it to work to the scale that I was working in a little bit better. And it turned out really good. I was super happy with it. So if you ever catch me in a stream, you'll see like half the chat and Blue Jay or Killerdrone, if he jumps in there, like take full credit for my roof. I'll give him half credit for it. I have to mention him when the roof comes up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you did actually have to put it in place, so you know.
Yeah, he showed me a screenshot and like a method of doing it, and I had to modify, like, you know, well, how many blocks do I go this way before I go a block this way, and like, kind of get it to fit the way I wanted it to fit. But definitely some credit to Killerdrone on that one.
Roof lines are so hard.
Oh man, they're the bane of my existence. I hate them so much.
I talk about, I went to architecture school, and even then, I'm still just like, how did he make that roof? That doesn't make any sense.
So many different designs for roofs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I try to catch like some of the better builders out there. Like you'll watch a Mythical Sausage or Grian or somebody like that, and just kind of see, or like Pearlescent Moon, and you see the shapes that they come up with for roofs, and you're like, oh, God, I wish I could just do that on a whim, like it seems like they do. And I don't know, maybe they struggle with it behind the scenes. And again, like I think we mentioned this in the pre-show or earlier in the show, but like, you know, you cut so many things out or reshoot so many things like as you go through. But when I watch their videos, they make it look confident enough to where like they just come up with it and it just works the first try.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do that.
Yeah, same here.
Love watching Pearl, and she's exactly that. She goes, oh yeah, and I built this structure over here, and my jaw just hits the floor. It's like, what, you just built that structure over there? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah. There's a lot of places to pull inspiration from, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so next question. What do you think is the future of Bedrock Edition, and what would you change if there was anything?
I could, if you want to know my like full thoughts on this, just follow me on Twitter, because I'm like ranting there all the time.
Yeah.
But really, to me, maybe I'm being naive here, but I do feel like at some point you'll have a one game for everybody type solution, to where everything does mold together. I don't think we're close to that point. And if anything keeps us from that point, it'll probably be Microsoft saying, no, we're not letting anybody modify this game.
Correct. I think so too.
But I think that's where everybody would like to go. Or at the very, very least, that everything between Java Edition and Bedrock Edition works almost identical, or at least like to the same scale. Like if I were to give an example that's simple for most people to understand, it would be iron farms. So like iron farms on Java Edition, like you guys used to have the way where you had so many doors and so many villagers, and an iron golem would spawn in the center, right? And then it changed to, you guys have the scare mechanics now, which are really cool. Well, Bedrock Edition works off of the beds, and you have the central spawning points. Beds basically replace what doors used to be. Why do those things shouldn't be different than each other? You know what I mean? Because now when, I don't know, my kids, if they watch a video on how to make an iron farm, and then they see Tango Tech design or something like that, or Waddles or somebody that's made like one with the new scare mechanics, they're going to think that they can do that, and then they can't, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Whereas let's get all of those things to be the same. And if it can't work exactly the same, the sense behind the mechanics should be similar. So
correct.
Maybe it's, you have to, like, the distances aren't exactly the same, but it's still scare mechanics or whatever the case may be. We need to get to that point where people don't try to build stuff, spend hours doing it, and then, oh, well, I didn't know there was a different version of Minecraft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was literally talking to Jimbo about this when we were writing the show up, because obviously I've seen your Iron Farm episode in your trading hall, and that was like a huge, like, wait, why doesn't their iron farms work like our iron farms? And the space it took you to build your one iron farm, Jimbo has
huge.
a 4-cell iron farm. So he's got 4 iron farms on top of each other. And it's just like, I thought these games were supposed to be as close to possible. Why is that one mechanic so different still?
Yeah, and it's not just that one mechanic. There's an infinite number of things that I couldn't do justice if I tried to like list them off. But there's a lot of things that are like more simple things that you would think would be, like we mentioned earlier, like lava can push mobs on Java Edition, but lava can't push mobs on Bedrock Edition.
Yeah.
You can go from small stuff like that to big things like spawning mechanics or iron golems and like all these different things. And I know they're working on them, you know, but I wish that the like really higher ups would say, you know, hey, let's can we just bring in a few more people to like start just working on these things so we can get more parity quicker to the players. It would be really nice.
When I put it out there, my favorite update was 115, and that was just the bees and bugs update because of how many bugs they fixed. So it's almost like, hey, we just need another one of those updates, but strictly for parity.
Yeah, and the ironic thing is that update, I guess is 1.14 was Village and Pillage, was the one before that. Like that one broke like a whole bunch of stuff for us. Like I got frustrated to the point where I wouldn't even make anything with like villager based mechanics anymore, and they're a little bit better now. But like even villager mechanics between Bedrock and Java are like immensely different from each other and are still very broken.
Yeah, I saw you have to put your villagers in a puddle of water to get them to actually stay focused.
Yeah, it's because otherwise, well, they did fix that recently, although I've heard instances where people say it's not fixed. So, you know, I'm just playing it safe and putting them in the water. But
yeah, why risk it?
Yeah, they would unlink from the beds. Or like, here's another one is if you have some villager based technology, whether it be an iron farm or a breeder or a mob farm or not mob farm, a crop farm or whatever, like villager powered stuff. You can't really build or do anything with profession blocks within like 60 something blocks of that. Otherwise it can make the villagers like get confused about, which profession block do I want to be? And like everything just stops working. So
dang,
there's definitely a lot that hinders what players can do with some of these bugs that hopefully they'll end up tackling here at some point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're getting a little low on time. Let's do one more question each, Jimbo, and then we'll have to move on to the post show.
There is one question on here I got to throw out there, but we'll save that for the end.
Okay.
Because a couple people were asking about it. But we talked about this a little bit earlier with the new 1.17 coming out. Are you going to be building in the mountains or the caves?
My plan, I don't think I've told anybody this yet, my big base plans, and I won't go too deep in because it's fun for there to be a little bit mystery, but I think I plan on building in the caves. I would love to find just a really big, like expansive open cave to build some type of themed base in. And I got a couple of ideas for themes to do, but to me, it just makes sense. That's what people are going to want to see. And that's kind of what I want to like mess around with is to play around in the caves. So I think that's where I'll be.
Yeah, welcome to the life of a mole rat. You're going to need clocks everywhere.
Yeah, I'll put a clock every like 10 blocks just so I know what time it is, I guess.
Yeah, the caves are definitely, in my opinion, a lot more interesting than the mountains as of right now. I mean, we kind of have mountains now, but the depth of these caves there's just so many variety of builds to be done down there.
It is, but don't discount the mountains now because I know you guys have seen screenshots of them, but I don't know that either of you have jumped into the beta and actually seen one like in game. The experience is crazy. Like when you start walking up on one of these and you can see it from, again, remember Bedrock render distance is really far, like 50 chunks away. And like you just see this big mountain start to render in, and as you get closer to it, it's very daunting and very impressive. Like the way that they look, they're awesome for sure.
Yeah, I think definitely if I could, get an RTX card for sure, because between the render distance and that new fancy graphics pack, I don't even know if they're calling it that anymore, but
yeah,
the incredible realistic mode, like you saying, the render distance you can get around with on Bedrock, it's so insane. I think I would have to try a Bedrock series just for those things.
Yeah. Now, if you play in RTX mode with RTX on, it does. I think the render distance, at least for now, is limited to like 24, 26 chunks, which is still pretty far ways.
I'm playing with 13 right now, so
Yeah, I mean, for us playing Bedrock, that's not a long ways to be able to view, but on I guess with Java it is. But
yeah,
when they implemented RTX, they also they gave us a new graphics engine to work off of as well called Render Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I don't think it's fully feature filled implemented yet, because when they pulled in Render Dragon, they pretty much axed all shaders. None of the shaders that we had before work on Render Dragon. So we're stuck without being able to see chunk borders and being able to
that's right.
have packs that allow us to see the light level of a particular block and all these different things. So we're held back a little bit, but my point on this one is that once they get to the point where they allow third-party shaders to be made for Render Dragon, I think you'll see a lot of the features that RTX brings be possible outside of the actual ray tracing portion. But the colored lighting and all these other things, hopefully we'll be able to do those things even if you don't play with RTX on.
Right.
And you'll only miss out on the actual ray tracing portion itself at that point.
Yeah.
All right, well, Jimbo, I'm going to let you go ahead and ask the last question, because I know you've been wanting to ask this one for a while.
Well, it seems like there's a thing between mending and infinity on your bow, and I just want to know your thoughts on it because a couple people asked about it.
Yeah. Wow. So mending is by far the superior enchantment to go on a bow.
Ay.
There's no contest to this. So, but I have a lot of people in my community, for whatever reason, they're poor lost souls and they think infinity is better. So here's the deal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to all you Infinity users out there to hopefully set you guys straight. When you carry an arrow on you, it takes up a slot in your inventory. When you carry 64 arrows on you, it takes up a slot in your inventory. I have to refill on arrows maybe once a week. Okay. So unless I get it, you Infinity users out there, maybe your aim's not that great and you go through arrows like crazy, and that's fine. I can see why you use Infinity when you have to shoot 10 times just to hit something. But for those of us that are, a little bit more skilled with their aim with the bow, mending works just fine. And your bow never breaks. You never have to make a new one. You have it forever. For all you bow lovers out there, mending's the way to go.
That's a solid argument.
And that's an argument I wouldn't argue, especially with spectral arrows being so easy to grab now.
Which don't exist on Bedrock Edition, by the way. We don't have spectral arrows. Yeah, we don't have them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, man.
But we can get tipped arrows a lot easier than you guys, because we can throw 3 potions into a cauldron and we got a whole stack of tipped arrows right there.
Cauldrons are way better.
Yeah, cauldrons, look, we get it. They're like armor stands. They defeat Java in every way possible.
Every aspect.
They're pretty awesome. So yes, mending is the way to go. Anybody that says otherwise I'm sorry, you're just wrong.
As I kind of agree with you, but as someone who's used an Infinity Bow this season, I will put up a little defense for it. And the fact that, Jimbo, how many months are we in now? 6 months? 7 months this season?
A little more than that.
Oh, well, we're a little more than that. I have yet to break my bow.
I will lose mine before I break it. Yeah, but I always go Infinity. I hate refilling up on arrows.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I don't, and if I were to repair it, I could just grab a half beaten up bow from a skeleton spawner, combined it, and back to normal. Don't really need mending.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a waste of time, effort, and levels. When how many different ways we have to get arrows now? You have bartering, you have raid farms, you have skeleton farms, you have mob farms. You have a billion arrows as it is. So I have an arrow chest at my base, and I'm back and forth to my base quite a bit to, get supplies and whatever, right? So, oh, hey, I noticed that I dropped below a half stack of arrows after a couple days. I'll just go ahead and just hit the arrow chest really quick and top her off, and I'm good to go for another, several days.
I made a deal with Carl to get an entire shulker box full of spectral arrows. And I go, when this Infinity Bow breaks, I'm going to switch to a mending bow so I can use the heck out of these cool spectral arrows. And my bow still hasn't broken.
That's cool. The easiest way to break a mending bow, Infinity Bow, just throw it into lava. That's where it belongs.
That's good.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to do it for today's show. But before I have Jimbo read us out, I want to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons of the show. Our milk level patrons are Aubni, ChiefBigBear, Crock, Firestar, FragileRock, Neo Double Games, ohbeep, StoneFigure, viperoustuna, and YDYT. Man, that list gets longer every time we read it. Thank you guys so much. If you too would like to get access to exclusive benefits and hours of extra content each month, please consider joining at patreon.com/The Withering Effect.
Yes, and make sure to subscribe and follow Prowl on his social media and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Been a great guest.
Awesome guest.
I appreciate you guys inviting me on, by the way. Thank you.
No problem.
Great having you. And if you like the show, you could share it with all of your friends and on social media. If you listen on Spotify, follow us. Or if you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Doing any of these really helps the show reach more listeners. If you'd like to get in contact with us, send an email to podcast@thewitheringeffect.com, tweet us, leave a voice message, or join our Discord where you can have a chat with everyone who works on the show and fellow listeners. All the links will be in the show notes.
Do you guys notice how he read his script slower than normal to make sure he doesn't mess it up like I did?
He's got to show you up.
Exactly.
I could probably read with my eyes closed now. Read some.
All right. Remember that next time you mess up. This show has been brought to you by Jimbo and myself, but also our digital producer, Carl, who helps make sure the show has ended up where it should be. The amazing music you hear in the intro and outro was created by the one and only Decoy. And everyone say a huge thank you to our special guest, Prowl. Been awesome guest. And it was a short notice.
Yeah, the short notice usually doesn't work good for me, but I can move things around. It's not too big of a deal. I appreciate you guys inviting me on, and if you need a guest in the future, definitely feel free to hit me up. I'll be glad to come on again.
Nice.
Definitely will.
And also, he is in our pre and post show where we talk about YouTube making, how he does his content. So if you're interested in that, that is on the Patreon.
Everyone's social media info can be found in the show notes. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for getting withered with us. You should probably go drink your milk now. Bye.
See you guys.